Welcome to the final episode of a Stuart Models beam engine rebuild, part 25, a live steam test of the rebuilt beam engine. This steam test has to be a short steam test because I do not have a displacement lubricator fitted to the engine. The boiler that I'm going to use for the steam test is one that I rebuilt quite a while back. The first thing to do is to pump some water into the boiler from the small tank at the front. And now, using the special fitting that I made, I connected the gas supply. The burner is a very small Sievert blowtorch head. I like this because it's not much of a flame, it isn't too noisy, but it gives plenty of heat. This clip shows me connecting a short piece of silicone rubber pipe from the exhaust pipe on the engine down into a plastic tub under the bench. If I don't do this, then there'll be exhaust steam everywhere, and a bit of a mess on the baseboard. This boiler is a fire tube boiler, and it's quite efficient, and in no time at all there's a little bit of pressure, and it's more than enough to run the engine. As I've just mentioned, as there isn't a displacement lubricator, then I'm going to keep the pressure low. If I keep the pressure low, the temperature of the steam will also be low, and the saturated wet steam will lubricate the cylinder. It's worth remembering that water can be a lubricant. For instance, on the hand pump, the only thing lubricating the main ram is the water as it passes through the pump. If you've been following this series, then you will be aware that I have been running this engine for quite a while using compressed air and plenty of oil. The silicone rubber exhaust pipe exhausts into a plastic tub, and I notice quite a lot of black oil coming out of the cylinder. So a steam test will be good just to clean everything up. And as you can see, it's running very well indeed. When I first started this project, I wasn't sure whether to complete it or whether to smash it to pieces with my Viking war axe, as part of a series that I would like to make called Alternative Uses for Viking war axes. I'm really glad I didn't do that, because at the end of this series the engine is running quite well. In this clip I've pointed the exhaust pipe upwards for a bit of steam effect. It is not me smoking a cigarette, I stopped that 7 years ago. You can clearly see that the engine runs very well, very slowly. Still a bit of a ticking noise, but I do know what that is, and that should subside with time. The engine is running quite well on 10 to 15 pounds per square inch, which I think is about the pressure you would run a Mammoth or a similar steam toy engine on. And at this very low pressure the engine runs surprisingly fast. If you look at the gas burner pointing into the boiler flue, you'll see how small the flame is. Even though this flame is very long, thin and pointy, it's quite hot. And in this clip I've turned the gas burner right down, so there isn't much of a flame in there, but there's enough to provide steam to run the engine. I'm quite pleased with the slow running capability of this engine, although watching this clip back I realised that the timing does need just a little tiny tweak. At this stage I turned the gas burner off and it finally ran out of steam and stopped. And what do you do after a steam run with a steam engine? I connect a compressor to the inlet and blow compressed air through the engine. Then I squirt some WD-40 into the compressed air fitting, then reconnect the compressed air to the engine, which injects WD-40 into the steam chest and cylinder. And the last thing I always do is put some steam oil in. It's very important to do this after running a cast iron steam engine on steam. You don't need a lot, just a squirt into the air fitting like this. Then reconnect the airline and run the engine. And when steam oil comes out of the exhaust pipe, then you know everything's okay. During the rebuild and for running on compressed air, I have been using ordinary lubricating oil in the cylinder. But now the only oil that I'm going to use in the steam cylinder is proper steam cylinder oil. Some oils will actually attack silicone rubber, the steam oil doesn't, and please do not use motor oil. Motor oils can cause a lot of problems in steam engines. They frequently attack the silicone rubber. So let's hope this time most people have got it, because I'm forever getting people asking me, oh, can I use motor oil? No, don't use motor oil. Do not use motor oil. Motor oil is for internal combustion engines, and a steam engine is an external combustion engine. The combustion takes place in and around the boiler, depending of course on the design of the boiler. I'm just having another obsessive check of the valve timing. This engine seems to be very happy with early admission, which is the way it should be. The steam or compressed air is admitted just before top and bottom dead centre. The reason for this is to cushion the mechanical parts. And many model steam engines that I come across have got very late admission, that's why they knock. This one is beginning to run a lot better. Whenever you dismantle a model steam engine and rebuild it, using new parts or sometimes not even using new parts, just disturbing it upsets it a bit. That's why often they need a bit of gentle tweaking and a bit of running just to bed everything in. And also, the important bit, when you run a steam engine on steam, certain parts of the steam engine get very hot, therefore they expand and move around a little bit. And when the hot parts cool, they often settle back into a better position than they were in the first place. I do love steam engines because they're a machine that really needs to run in harmony to function. Particularly steam engines with more than one cylinder. I would normally set each cylinder individually, getting the valve timing as close as I can on each cylinder before I run them as a pair. This concludes the rebuild series. I may do some more if I fit the governor, but that possibly will be called Fitting a Microcosm Governor to a Stuart Models Beam Engine. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website. Click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you will find it very easy to find other videos that you may like to watch.